Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys had a great new year, had a good time with family, doing fireworks, whatever you may do. I'm going to change it up a little bit today. I did post one gaming video before for The Witcher, but to be real, I wasn't really feeling it, so I'm probably not going to continue it. Unless maybe something happens to where I end up liking it more, but just couldn't really get into it that much, so but I'm not gonna do a gameplay video on this one. This is gonna be more just, I've been playing a lot more games recently, so this is gonna be my top 10 favorite games from last year. Now, these games that I'm about to say, not all of them came out last year. I just played them last year for the first time. A lot of them did, some of them didn't. So we'll go with that. And don't come for me about this list. It's my list, my opinion. If you don't like it, cool, I understand. Not everybody has the same list, their favorites or whatever. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. Alright, so number 10 is going to be Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, this game I was very hyped for. I think a lot of people were very hyped for it. Because of the trailer. I think we got the trailer like maybe a year before the game came out, and then the gameplay came out and it was looking really good. But at launch, it was a mess. It was kind of a mess. I bought it on PS5 and it was still kind of messy. Like, it was glitchy, it was slow, even on performance mode, it wasn't doing very well. For some reason. After a couple of the patches, it started to run pretty smoothly, but performance aside, I don't think it was that great of a game. I don't think it lived up to Fallen Order. Fallen Order had, to me, in my opinion, from when I played it, no performance issues. It was much smoother, and it looked a lot better for some reason. Like, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. Like, don't get me wrong, Survivor definitely looked good, but it was just too overdone. It was oversaturated, and I don't know, it was a little bit weird on that end, but it still did look really good. I can't lie about that. As far as the story goes, it was okay. It wasn't like anything extravagant. I didn't really like the story that much. It was like more of a one-time play and that's it. I didn't even go back and do all the other extra shit. I mean, it was kind of typical. It was kind of guessable, if you know like where the story went. I'm not gonna spoil it if you haven't played it, but yeah, that's why it's at number 10. But it was solid in its own ways. Like, the lightsabers were really cool. How you could customize them different ways. Like, you had the double blade, you had like Kylo Ren's like cross lightsaber, and then you had the regular one, and they all had different stats. Like, some were heavier attacks, some were lighter attacks, but more agile. It was pretty good in that sense. The force moves were updated a lot, so it was fun in its own ways. But yeah, still number 10. We're gonna leave it at that. Number 9 is gonna be Signalis. This game I found on, I think it was like Xbox Game Pass when I still had an Xbox, but it was fucking fun. It was like the OG Resident Evil. I mean, I had no idea what this game was gonna be about. Like, I just clicked on it and I was like, okay, looks interesting. So I don't usually do that too often, don't usually just play random games, but it caught my eye, and so I played it, and I was not disappointed at all. It kind of had like an anime art style to it, which was awesome because I love anime, and then a horror vibe to it, and like the pixelated horror was really good. The atmosphere, the music was very good. I can't really think of anything bad to say about it. I mean, if you don't like the OG Resident Evil games, like the managing items and the fixed camera angles, you probably wouldn't like it. But if you do, I would suggest giving this game a shot, because not only does it capture all of those very well, but it also captures the horror aspect of it. The music, the atmosphere, the lighting, the traps, the jump scares, everything. It was a fantastic, I guess, indie game, for what it's worth. Fantastic, definitely recommend it. The only thing I don't like about it is, like, towards the end, and this is kind of like a my nitpick thing, but towards the end there's part where you fall into these caves and your map isn't working, and every room looks the exact same. You have no fucking idea where to go. And some people may not think that's a bad thing, but for me, I was like, okay, I'm kind of lost here. I need to look it up. So I had to look up where to go, but that's okay. It's not the most terrible thing that could happen. And then also some of the puzzles were really hard, you know, for me anyway. I had to look some of them up, but for the most part, they were pretty challenging and pretty fair. So yeah, that one I definitely recommend if you like old school horror games. That one's definitely on your playlist. Okay, number 8 is Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Remastered. This one I had never played before. I know it was on PSP, but never got around to playing it. But of course, I love Final Fantasy games. They're my favorite type of games ever. I played most all of them, and the ones I haven't played, I am working on playing. But this one, it's funny because the graphics were so great, like they were so updated, but the voice acting was still dated. You know, it just felt like I was playing an anime, which is kind of weird since I said I do like anime, but it was a little bit too cheesy sometimes. It was a little bit too goofy as far as voice acting goes. The story though was great. Loved it. Like, I guess it was technically a prequel, right, showing how Sephiroth came to do what he does, and Angeal and Genesis and Zack, which we get some Zack backstory from Final Fantasy VII, but this one goes further back and gives you some more insight, which is fucking cool. I mean, who doesn't love that? Like how he got the Buster Sword, fucking cool, man. And it's a whole different story in its own. But as far as gameplay goes, I think the gameplay was pretty fun. It was more like, it kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy 13, where it's kind of like you're not constantly in battle, you don't develop in battle, like there's no screen that takes you into a turn-based. It's more like you're walking in and you see enemy and then you go up to them and then it starts a battle, which I think is pretty fun. It's pretty okay. Not my favorite, not my least favorite type of Final Fantasy combat, but still fun. The materia system, pretty basic. I can't remember off the top of my head, but how it worked. I know it was a little bit different in the Final Fantasy VII Remake when it comes to materia, but I still enjoyed it a lot. The slot machine, I didn't really get used to that much. I didn't really look at it too much. I just, whenever it came up, I would hit it that way. Same with the summons. But music, of course, music was fantastic. It's Final Fantasy. The graphics, obviously, they've done very well with the graphics. It looked really good. I don't know, I can't compare it to the original because I didn't play the original, but I still think it was worth. I think I bought for like $30. I'd say it's much worth it. There's a lot of extra shit to do. There's a lot of training missions that are very challenging, so there's a lot to do in this game for sure. And yeah, that's gonna put it on the list for last year for sure. Okay, number 7 is Spider-Man 2, Insomniac Spider-Man 2. The reason this is so high up on the list, or low on the list, whatever you want to say, for number 7, is because while this game was very fun, it didn't feel much different from Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, in the fact of it just felt like a copy and paste type game. Like I don't want to say money grab, but that's kind of how I feel, real shit. They did do a lot of things better. Like the swinging was obviously a lot better. It's a lot faster. If you go back to Spider-Man 1, it feels very slow. This one with the gliding, you know, with the wing shit, made traveling a lot more fun. And they've got the wind. If you pick up on wind, it'll just shoot you far. As far as you want to go, and you can follow like these little rings that will like guide you, I guess, depending on where you want to go. But that was very fun. The tricks, they've updated the tricks a little bit while you're swinging. There's so many fucking costumes. Like, I probably switched costumes every 5 minutes just to see. There were some I stuck to more, like the cat coming out the backpack. I like that one probably the most. And then the OG Toby suits, love those. But yeah, the only thing I noticed was like in the first one, your suits gave you like specific power ups. This one does not. Like they're just for the design, just to look at them, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that, but something I noticed. Um, as far as the story goes, I think it was a good story. Like it was good. I like how they introduced Kraven. We haven't seen much of Kraven in general, and when it comes to Spider-Man games or movies or whatever, we haven't seen much of him. So it was cool to see a new take on it. It was cool to see Peter transitioning into Venom and becoming more of a dick, you know, like Toby did. He wasn't as much of an asshole as Toby, I feel like, but he definitely had his moments. It was still funny, you know. And then Harry, we got to see Harry more, which Harry ends up becoming Venom. Spoiler alert, sorry, but it's been out for a while. Harry ends up becoming Venom, or Agent Venom, whatever, and then after a while, Peter gets it off of Harry, and then when it gets off of Harry, I forgot who it is. It's I don't remember if anybody's in Venom. I think it's just Venom, like the symbiote. I don't think it's a part of anybody. At the end, you end up playing as Venom and then breaking out of the facility, and it was pretty good. If I had to rate the story compared to the first one, I'd give the second one a good 7 out of 10, while I'd give the first one a probably 8 or 9 out of 10. In a weird way, I know it probably doesn't make sense, but that's just the way I got out of it. So, yeah, that's going to be number 7 on the list. Number 6 is going to be Cyberpunk 2077. So, I know this game came out in 2020, but I didn't play it until last year because of all the bad things I heard about it, all performance issues, everything like that. Now, while I did hear that it ran okay on PS5, I didn't have a PS5 at the time. I think I had a Series S, so I'm sure it wouldn't have run as well. But I ended up buying it and playing it all the way through. I played on the Corpo mode, and I really liked it. It was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. There's so much to do. Even since I've played it, they've updated it again. With the DLC, which I haven't played yet, and I'm sure it's going to be a different experience playing it with this new update. But from the one, I'm just going to go off the one I played. So, the gameplay was very fun. There was lots of mods you could attach, lots of, lots of chips you could do. As far as, like, the police system goes, it wasn't that great. Like, you know, they'd chase you for a while and then kind of just fuck off and do their own thing. It wasn't like GTA Police at all. It was kind of underwhelming. I don't know if they've updated that at all, but as far as police chase goes, that was like the least of my worries. I worried more about like gang rivals and shit like that, you know, because they were much more tough than the police were. You could obviously like hack the police and hack anything you wanted really to your advantage during stealth modes and shit like that. It was really cool. Lots of different guns you could upgrade. Lots of like shit coming out of your arms, like in Assassin's Creed. That was awesome. The story was very good, very good. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Keanu Reeves definitely making the story for sure. I'm excited to see what the DLC has though, because I heard it was very good, and Idris Elba's in it, so that should be pretty cool. There's a lot of good side missions. I didn't find myself dreading doing side missions like I did sometimes in other games. This one was very good. The music was also very good, and I know they made that anime, so I'm gonna have to give that a shot eventually. I think I started it, but I didn't finish it. But yeah, that's gonna be number 6 on my list because it was very good. I recommend it. If you haven't played it because of the rumors about that of the performance issues when it first launched, I want to tell you there is no worries anymore. It is a different game completely, so give it a shot. Alright, getting down into my top 5 now. Number 5 is going to be Dark Souls 3. I don't even know when this game came out. I think 2018. It came out a while back, but I played it for the first time last year because I just started getting into the Souls games when Elden Ring came out. my first Souls game was Sekiro, and I was like, you know what? If I can beat this, I'm gonna buy Elden Ring. So I beat Sekiro somehow, and I bought Elden Ring, and it was amazing. Both of them are really good. I'd say Elden Ring is probably one of my favorite Souls games, though. But Dark Souls 3 it comes up there for sure. Um, it was just such a different experience than Dark Souls 1 and Sekiro and even Elden Ring. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the graphics. I loved the way it looked. It kind of looked like Bloodborne, but more, I don't know, Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 just have that same atmosphere of like horror. But Bloodborne is more horror, obviously, but Dark Souls 3 was just fantastic from beginning to end. There isn't a single boss that I can say was cheap or stupid or anything like that. It was honestly a lot easier than Elden Ring to me. A lot of people say that like they thought Elden Ring was easier, but I thought Elden Ring was pretty hard. Maybe because it was my second one and I hadn't adjusted to it yet, but Dark Souls 3 was a lot easier for me. I don't think I died for the first time until like the third boss. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, it was a lot easier. Don't get me wrong, it was hard. Like the Demon Prince was fucking hard. Poneglyph Sullivan, whatever his name was, probably the hardest boss in the game for me besides Midir. But speaking of Midir, that dragon fight is nothing like the dragon fights in Dark Soul or Elden Ring. This one was like, you're gonna get fucked up, and you're gonna get fucked up bad. And I did. I got fucked up. I don't know how many tries it took me, like 15, 20. I finally beat it, a while later, but it's like, it forces you to be the best you can be at that game, for real. Just like Ishin forces you to be the best you can at Sekiro. Like, there just is no way around it. He's the hardest boss in the game by far. I've never run magic builds on any of the Souls games. I may try it eventually. I've always done strength builds, but I love the strength build on Elden Ring. Like, I love all the shields you can get, all the armor, like the onion guy. It was great. It was fantastic. If you haven't played Dark Souls 3, you must play it if you like the Souls games. Number 4 is going to be Nier Replicant. I played Nier Automata first, and it became one of my favorite games I've ever played, I believe, to this day. I think I played it in like 2021, 2020 maybe, but this is not about that one. This is about Nier Replicant. I didn't know what to expect going into Nier Replicant. I didn't know if it was going to be like very outdated or very different. In a way, I'm not going to say outdated because the graphics were like, jumped up because I guess it was a remake type deal. I didn't look much into the original, but from this one, you're playing as a boy, and the other one you're playing as a man. I don't know the difference, but it was, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was very different and very much the same. A lot of the good things were the music. The music was fantastic, just like Automata. The gameplay was also very fun. My only gripe about it really is the side quests. I ended up not doing a lot of the side quests because they were mostly like fetch quests, like go get me 15 of these flowers. So I ended up not doing a lot of the side quests because I'm just not into fetch quests and shit like that. But the music was fantastic, the gameplay was fantastic, the story was really good. It really took me off guard how long this game was, because the halfway point, it's like a time skip and you turn into like maybe not an adult, like in your 20s type deal, and then you get a whole other fucking half of the game. So that was really cool. There's a lot of content in it, plus the characters are really good. But yeah, if you like Automata, you would like this game for sure, because it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's just very nice. It's very good. Number 3 is gonna be Resident Evil 4 Remake. I was debating on putting this on my list at all because it is a remake, but it is on my list because it's so good. It's like with the Resident Evil 3 remake, it was okay, but it wasn't a true remake, like it didn't stick to the story as well as I wished it would have. Resident Evil 2 remake did a great job though, but Resident Evil 4 remake surpassed that one because it's very much like an action horror game, like the original was. You don't really have to worry about running out of ammo, because pretty much, depending on what mode you're doing, but pretty much every enemy on normal drops ammo. So that was an issue with 2, was ammo management. With this one, not so much deal. The story, I mean, you guys have played Resident Evil 4, I mean, you know the story, it didn't change much. They did leave out I think it was the U3 boss, with the guy in the containers. I heard that they put him in separate ways though, I'm not too sure. I haven't played Separate Ways, but I'm going to get into it eventually. Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil, so of course it would be on this list. There are some things I like about the original more, there are some things I like about this one more, but that's a whole different video. I could probably spend an hour talking about it. But all in all, I would say it's a good 9 out of 10. For a remake, it's a good 9 out of 10. They did Salazar very well. The Salazar fight was very different than the original. It was kind of tough, but challenging. Lewis's death was a little bit different. I actually ended up liking Lewis a little bit more in the remake. They gave him more backstory, maybe not backstory, but more personality, more screen time. So I liked him a little bit more. And I'm trying to think, the Krauser fight was pretty dope. I don't think they changed that up too much, which is awesome, you know. But yeah, it was definitely really good for the remake. I hope they do remake 5 just as well, because it can definitely benefit from a remake, I think. But yeah, right, so number 2 on this list is going to be Alan Wake 2. I played the first one back on 360. I don't know when it came out, but I remember I got the 360 and it came with Alan Wake, so I played it, and it was fucking great. That was the first time I owned an Xbox, and I played it, and it was just fucking fantastic. Like with it was the horror vibes, the writing, the story. It was much more different because you had the flashlight, you had to make them vulnerable first, and then you had to shoot them. And then there were harder enemies, like ones that took up more flashlight beams, and you get the shotgun, you get the rifle, you get all type of shit. And for a game that came out that long ago, it was very fantastic. The story was top notch, I loved it. So when they announced Alan Wake 2 was coming out, I was also very, very excited because, you know, I loved Alan Wake, and I was surprised they came out with Alan Wake 2 because, like, I never heard of too many people playing the first one, but the second one, oh my gosh, it was so great. There's not too many bad things I could say about it. Like, the beginning was just so eerie, and like with the cult, and then Nightingale walking through the forest naked, like I thought he was already fucking dead. Like, it looks like a dead body just walking. And then I like the aspect of it being a detective horror story. Like, you've got I can't remember her name, but the FBI agent, and then you've got Alan in like 2 different dimensions, kind of like feeding off of each other. It was a very great story. The only thing I don't like, one of the only things I don't like though, is towards the end, it drags on. Like when you're the agent and you're in the room for the final time, and you just keep having to redo the same thing over and over and over and over. I was getting annoyed with that. Also, some of the other parts of the game were very kind of dragged on and could have ended like 5 minutes ago type deal. There was a lot of side stuff to do, like there was these puzzles you'd come across, and you had to find these toys and you had to put them in a certain order, and it was kind of like a riddle, and then when you get like a special item or like ammo or a charm to help you do the game. I think there's a good amount of those in there, so you had to really do. It's really challenging. Item management is also a thing here, like the OG Resident Evil, which it's like a whole completely new system from Alan Wake. It's like Resident Evil. It's like Resident Evil 2 remake, but buffed up. You know what I'm saying? this game actually did scare me at some points. Like the jump scares, like you'd be walking in the forest and then all of a sudden a fucking just flare of like Alan screaming would pop up and you'd just be like, okay, what the fuck, man? It was crazy. And then just walking through the forest at night alone, the isolation feeling was fantastic. I loved it. The graphics were beautiful. I played it on PS5, but it was beautiful. Lots of extra stuff to do, like I said. I still haven't done all of them. I'm gonna do a replay and try and get everything I missed. But yeah, I love how they also introduced the Federal Bureau of Control. Linking those 3 games together was awesome. I was hoping to see Jessie, but maybe Alan Wake 3 will see her. But yeah, it was a great story. Definitely one of the best games of the year for sure. Alright, so number 1 on my list for last year, my favorite game, is going to be Final Fantasy 16. Because I love Final Fantasy, and I was looking forward to this game for a while. Is it perfect? No, but it is fantastic. I think the story is such an upgrade from 15 in terms of writing and pacing. So it's basically kind of like Game of Thrones. Like, it's very political, which is kind of confusing at sometimes, but it does wrap up pretty well in the end. There is so much shit to do between the main story, the side missions, the hunts, and then the DLC that just came out, which I haven't played the DLC, but we'll get into that. But the side quests, I have a bit of a gripe with some of the Final Fantasy side quests, and I always have. It's that they're just kind of shit. Like, same with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was like you went from destroying a reactor to doing some intense shit to going to round up some cats and then going to find some of this and find some of that. It's just stupid. Same with the 16. I found myself, it's just, go take this food here, go take this food there, go talk to him, and then let me know. It's like, it's just running back and forth sometimes. It was kind of annoying, but that's really my only gripe about it. There's a lot you could do with mixing up the combos and the icons. Like, you can use Ifrit and like Bahamut in the same one, and get different combos. There's so much to do, so many different combinations you can choose. The music was fantastic as always. I know I said this before, but the Final Fantasy just has like the best music you can ask for. Like Find the Flame, when Clive is like accepting the truth. Oh man, that was so fucking good. And then the Titan music when you're fighting Titan, it's just so good. None of these songs are bad at all. Like, I still listen to them just when I'm in the background. So yeah, the music is also definitely like a 10 out of 10 for sure. I like the characters a lot. Like, Clive was a very likable character. Jill was very likable. Joshua and their relationship was very, very interesting. And when Clive and Joshua finally got reunited, and it was just such a great moment because it's like, you know, they're going to be reunited with Owen and Jill watching them hug and she starts crying. It was just such a great moment. The whole game just is filled with such great moments. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but the ending was also, it was good, you know. It was acceptable. It was how do I say it? Like the ending was how I feel the ending should have been, honestly, because I don't know. It just felt like the right ending for some reason. It just felt like the right way to end it off. And some Final Fantasies don't have that at all. But this one, I can truly say that it did have. It was the right ending for me, for sure. And I love that Torgal, Torgal helped in battle. He didn't help much on the healing side of things, but fighting flying enemies, definitely, he was helpful because he would bring them down and you could just attack them. So he was a good play for sure. The hunt system was amazing. It was very challenging. It was pretty easy though, compared to some of the other hunts in the other Final Fantasies. Another gripe I have, not really a gripe, but something that I wish they would have done, is after you beat the game for the first time, it'll give you Final Fantasy mode, and that's kind of like hard mode. And I understand that it scales up to your level and everything like that, but I wish you could have started that from the get-go, because it was very easy. The game was very easy, even the hunts and everything like that. But Final Fantasy mode definitely was a very good challenge, and then so I wish they would have put that from the beginning as an option at least. So yeah, that's gonna be my favorite game of last year. I haven't played it in a little bit. I'm waiting till both the DLCs come out, and then we'll do that. We'll 100% it. I do have some honorable mentions for this video. My first one is gonna be Lies of P. I'm not gonna talk too much about these, but I'm just gonna say that I did also play these and I love them. They were great games. Lies of P was a mixture between Sekiro and Bloodborne. Very good. The bosses were challenging. It was very challenging, especially towards the end. The graphics looked very good. The story was very good. The side content was good. Weapons were awesome. The fights were great. I have a few gripes, but I won't get into it. But it was a good game. Monster Hunter World I played for the first time. I still haven't beaten it, so it's more of an ongoing game. I found it on Steam on sale, so I got like the Iceborne stuff, and I'm kind of working through that. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Final Fantasy when it comes to like the hunt system, so that's why I bought it. Very fun so far. Tunic. I played this for the first time last year. It's kind of like an older Zelda game, and like a Link to the Past. It reminded me of a lot, like a 3D Link to the Past. He even looks like Zelda. I mean, or not Zelda, Link. He's got like the tunic on, and he's got the shield and the sword, and it's just a fun adventure, you know. It's a fun little platformer RPG, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Metroid Prime Remastered. I was debating on putting this on the list, but I've played this game so many times. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But Switch remastered it. Nintendo remastered it last year, and I played it. Fantastic. I mean, it's the same game, just graphics are updated. Looks great. It's a great. If you haven't played it and you want to play it, remastered would be the way to go. And then my last honorable mention is Final Fantasy XIV Online. Obviously, I'm still playing that. I started playing it last year. It's fantastic. There's so much shit to do, and I'm still even on the free trial because you can get up to like level 50. And there's a couple things you can't do, like you can't add people, but I so far haven't needed to buy it. But it's very fun for a MMO. I tried World of Warcraft, but I honestly just like Final Fantasy better. So yeah, I'll probably make more videos about that as I go on, but yeah, those are my honorable mentions. So yeah, that's gonna be my list for last year. If you guys have anything to say about any of those, if you liked any of those games, if you have different ones you liked, let me know. If you think this list was shit, let me know. I mean, it's just my opinion. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what games come out this year. I know there's a good lineup, so we'll see. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.